Haley Degar, and welcome to the Garage. Today, we're gonna be talking about the Formula One Bahrain Grand Prix because, my God, what a race that we had in Sakir! It was the season opener for a reason. I know it was not, but for me, here is where the season actually starts because the last three races they were not representative of what we're gonna see for the rest of the season. Australia was very good, but it was because of the rain. Without the rain, I don't know if it would have been such a good race. But anyway, China and Japan, they were no near good. Bahrain, this is proper racing. So many overtakes, so many on-track action. Everyone changed positions during the race. There was only two drivers who finished on the same position as they start. One was Oscar Piastri, who won the race, and the other one was Gabriel Bortoleto in P18, who was the last car on track. Because we had Carlos Sainz, who did not finish after the collision with Tsunoda, and we also have Nico Hulkenberg, who got disqualified for plank wear, where the minimum thickness of the plank should be 9 millimeters after the race, and his was like 8.5 on one side and 8.2 on the other side, something like that. Nico Hulkenberg disqualified from P13. It was not the best race for Nico. The Sauber is just not there. But anyway, going to the important part. Saturday qualifying, Oscar Jack Piastri. What a man is the Australian. The lap that he put on Saturday is just, he is delivering when he needs to deliver, unlike Lando Norris. That, don't get me wrong, Lando Norris is my favorite driver, but I believe that this year and last year, he's just getting too much into his head. And you can see it on the race when he's trying to overtake. He overthinks so much, and I get it. I overthink so much too. I'm an overthinker. But in these type of situations, when you're driving a Formula One car, you cannot overthink, buddy. Like, at least if you're gonna be overthinking so much and being hard on yourself, don't do it for the media. Don't do it in front of the media. Come on, Lando. Like, deal with that by yourself in your house. Go cry in the washroom like everybody else. Just try to play it cool in front of the media like Oscar do. He's the most nonchalant person ever. I love it. Like, how can you not like Oscar Piastri? He's like the reincarnation of Kimi Raikkonen right now. This year, we're having like the best tribute to Kimi Raikkonen. We have a new Kimi on the grid. We have the number 7 again. We have this emotionless character. He wins, no emotions. He crashes, no emotions. We also had the leave me alone radio message on the first race. This year so far is giving Kimi Raikkonen vibes. So Oscar Piastri on pole. Charles Leclerc P2 after George Russell got 1 place penalty for being released into the pit lane too early. FIA decisions, but to be fair, I believe that's within the rules. When you give the estimated time, you don't know if that's actually going to be the starting time. Yes, the red flag was not that big. Everything was clear by track already. But I don't know, things can happen. It's Formula One. They could have pushed the official starting time another 10 minutes. And what do they do with 2 cars there waiting on the lights already? Anyway, George Russell, P3, Pierre Gasly, 4, after Antonelli had the same penalty that Russell. But oh my god, Gasly put in that Alpine P5. Oh my god, that Alpine is a tractor. It is a tractor. We saw them on the last 3 races struggling so much. They didn't have a single point. They were the only team who didn't pick a point on the first 3 races. And out of the sudden, Gasly P5. He has something for Bahrain. He just delivers in qualifying. He just likes the track. Antonelli started in P5 after the penalty. Lando Norris, after a very poor qualifying, started in P6 next to Max Verstappen with a lot of issues with that Red Bull. Oh my god, Red Bull just, they don't have a car this year. I don't know how Max won on Japan because that Red Bull is just awful. It's just awful. You just have too much oversteer, too much understeer. You cannot go on the throttle. The brakes are just too unpredictable. I don't know how he drives that car, and I am actually very surprised for Juki as well, because I believe that he's doing a great job. Checo was right. Toto Wolff was right. They needed to change the car. On P8, we had Carlos Sainz with his best qualifying so far on the season. Honestly, it was very high for Carlos. It was a bummer that he had to move from Ferrari. The smooth operator, he's a great driver. And I was hoping that he was going to do better on the Williams. It's still just the fourth race, but will he finish a race anytime soon? Like, my God, poor Carlos. P9, Hamilton, and then P10, Tsunoda. Great effort from the Japanese. It's his second race on the team, and he is putting that car into Q3. Lawson could not do that. We saw last year how much Checo struggled to get out of Q2. I was very surprised from Yuki. I hope that he keeps picking up the pace. He was not far off Verstappen. But yeah, the RB21's it's just awful. Then we have Duhan in 11 with his best qualifying so far. Hadjar in 12 with his worst qualifying so far. Alonso, Ocon, Albon, Hulkenberg, Lawson, Bortoleto, Stroll, and Berm. Oliver Berm, how does he do not got the driver of the day? He goes from P20 to P10 on a Haas, and he does not get driver of the day. I don't know, you guys. What sport are you watching? How on earth Lewis Hamilton from P9 to P5 is a better race than Berman on a Haas P20 to the point? Moving into Sunday race, the race haven't even started. I was watching Lando's on board and I saw him moving forward a little bit and I was like, why? Why are you doing this? That's a penalty already. Like, I knew he was gonna get ahead of his grid box. I was like, it's gonna be a penalty. It was a 5-second penalty. It was not that bad. It could have been worse. And he managed to recover the penalty on the first stint. He did a very aggressive undercut. It didn't work to undercut Russell, but he got right there to Charles. He passed Charles. What an amazing battle between Norris and Charles. I was very, very excited when I saw them on track. Charles Leclerc he knows how to race wheel to wheel. Oscar Piastri, he defended very well at the start of the race. Russell had a great launch from the start. I thought that he was gonna go straight when I saw him blocking into turn 1, but he managed to keep the car on track and he managed to defend his position. Then we had this battle with Norris and Leclerc. He just, like, Leclerc especially, he knows how to race wheel to wheel. It's always so fun to watch Charles fighting on track. Lando served the penalty. He goes, he does the undercut. He recovers. He gets back into it. I don't understand how people can say that Lando Norris did not have a good race. Everything could have gone so wrong for him. He started P6 next to Verstappen. He could have easily crashed in the middle of the pack there into turn 1. He split Antonelli and Hamilton, I believe it was. He gained the positions that he needed to gain. Then he recovered those 5 seconds penalty and he still got into the podium. Like, honestly, he had a great drive. This is the type of drives that can win you a championship. Because easily he could have crashed, easily he could have just not finished on the podium. He's still the first on the championship. He managed to get into the podium, he managed to keep the leadership of the championship, and is these type of things that at the end gives you that one extra point that you need to win the championship. The same happened with Piastri on Australia. When I saw him on the grass, a lot of other drivers would have just turned off the car, DNF. But Oscar, I believe perhaps it was because it's his home race, but he kept going, he recovered some points, and those points could be gold at the end of the season. That's how championships are decided, and honestly I believe that this race and last race, Lando was thinking more of the championship than just on the race. Yes, you could have said, oh, he should be winning, but not really. As long as he's first on the championship, if he wins or not, that's not relevant. We saw Alain Prost doing the same things. He just needs to get the results that he needs to stay ahead of Piastri in the championship, and that's it. Piastri won 2 races already. Lando needs to step up and win in Saudi next week, or at least not let Oscar win. You know, like whoever wins, but not Oscar. On the podium, we had George Russell on P2. What a race from George. Honestly, I am not a huge George Russell fan, but that was an amazing race from the Brit. His car was just falling apart at the end of the race, and he managed to keep everything on track. What happened with his time thing? I don't know how is it called, teleprompter, telebonder, whatever it's called. It was so annoying to see him going down on the order and then go back from P2 to P20 to P2 to P20 to P2 to P20. But then, you know, like, it was annoying. But it was more annoying to not have the graphics to see what's going on the race. Like, it's a race. We cannot see all of the action in track. The race directors, they're awful showing us what's happening on the race. Everything we have to rely on is the graphics. And they don't put the graphics on there because they're ashamed that George Russell is just going up and down, up and down, up and down. Then they decided to just keep it there like frozen. It was even worse. We didn't have the lap time, like had the intervals between drivers. How could we know if someone was gonna do an overtake or anything when all of the numbers were just like glitching into the same number again? It was just awful. There was a lot of issues with George Russell's car. If you were watching the track map, the racetrack was here, everyone was on the track, and George Russell was like down here. He was like already in Jeddah. He was like taking Mario Kart shortcuts or something like that. It was just very funny. Closing the podium, we had Lando Norris. He had a great race, making it to the podium again. After starting P6, after having a 5-second penalty, yes, you're gonna say, oh, Haley, but he has a McLaren. If he's not putting the car into the podium, like, he's bad. Yes, perhaps the McLaren is the best car right now, is the fastest car right now, but it's not Max Verstappen 2023 Red Bull. You know, Piastri went ahead like 15 seconds, I believe. But I don't know. I don't believe that the McLaren is that far ahead of everyone else. It's just Russell fighting with Norris. They give each other's back. Like, they make each other lose time. Same happened with the Ferraris. Just, I don't know. I don't believe that the McLaren is that dominant as we've seen perhaps the Mercedes before and the Red Bull before. Then we had P4 Charles Leclerc and P5 Hamilton, Ferrari, doing Ferrari things. When I saw Charles Leclerc in P1 for like, it was only like 3 laps, but I saw them up there and I was like, Charles is gonna win this race. Charles is gonna win this race. They're gonna try to go as long as they can. They're gonna hope for something crazy to happen. They're gonna clinch into that first position, wait for something crazy to happen, and then just through strategy go long, win the race. Of course, it was not the case. I believe that if they would have gone longer on that stint, I believe he was on the medium tires, he would have even finished way back than 4. So it worked out for the Ferraris. Honestly, their safety car play against Charles, in my opinion. I believe that if we wouldn't had the safety car, Charles would have made it to the podium instead of Lando. Perhaps not, but we had the safety car. We had the race that we had, and Charles Leclerc P4, Hamilton P5. On P6, we had Max Verstappen making that massive move on Gasly on the last lap. But again, the race director just, oh my god. Like, the race director, so many times that they do stuff like this. First, I think that's so disrespectful with Oscar that he's winning the race and they showing us Lando versus George when everyone knew Lando was not gonna make a move at George. It was impossible that with 4/10 of a second, he was 4/10 behind George before the last turn. He was never gonna make a move there. But no, they decided to show Piastri winning the race on the mini box when it could have been the other way around. I believe that if it would have been any other driver, they would have shown him winning the race. It's respect. It's very disrespectful with Oscar, in my opinion. Why they did it like that, I have no idea. Because they didn't even show us on time Max doing that move on Gasly. It was just awful. Race directors getting worse and worse every race. We had so many good actions that we had to watch in replays. Why are we watching replays all the time when we have action? You know? Like, I don't know what they're doing. The broadcast is like, they don't want to show us race or something. Are they hoping for us to have like multiple screens or something? They have to show the on-track actions. We have so many great overtakes on this Bahrain Grand Prix. We had so many great battles. We had the Lando Norris versus Leclerc battle. We also had Carlos Sainz defending against Lewis Hamilton. That was amazing to watch. Carlos Sainz was defending against Hamilton as if he was defending his seat. It was so personal for Carlos. It was so personal for Carlos. He was doing everything to keep Hamilton behind. The DRS was too powerful on the Ferrari. The Williams just does not have that much of a pace. But when he was on the first and second sector, he was keeping Hamilton behind. That move on turn 4 until the S's, it was brilliant. It was brilliant racing from Carlos. We also had Lando versus Hamilton. It was a great performance there. It was great battle, great will-to-will racing. We then had again Lando versus Leclerc again. We had this Lando versus Russell as well. Russell, amazing defending. One of my favorite moves was Antonelli on Verstappen. What a move from Antonelli. That first he was using the line from the esports. If you see the onboard of him, he was getting track limits because he was taking the lines that you take on the sim racing. Like, I believe it was on turn 4 when he passes Max. That switcheroo that he did there to get the inside of turn 5, he just went on the throttle so early after that exit. It was just brilliant from the Italian. It was just masterclass from the Italian. It was a great move. It was a shame that he did not finish on the points. He finished P11, but we'll get into that later. So on P7, we had Gasly. He started P4 and he finished P7. On paper, it does not look very well for Gasly, but he has a tractor of a car. He's driving an Alpine. A P7 is already an amazing result, even if he would have started on pole. I don't care what you're gonna say. He had an amazing race because of his Saturday. He could have easily finished outside of the points, like Antonelli did, but he didn't. He managed to keep there. He was trying to keep the pace with the top cars, and he did a great job. He bagged some points. He's showing Flavio Briatore that he's not the driver to be kicked. I feel sorry for Duhan because when you have a Flavio Briatore in your team, it's like having a Helmut Marko but Italian. You know, it's the same vibes. If he's not impressed, he's not impressed. You're out. I honestly hope that Duhan is gonna get the rest of the season, at least half of the season, but with his performances, I don't know if that's gonna happen. On 8, we had Esteban Ocon with an amazing race, both Haas on the podium, starting P14 and P20 and finishing P8 and P10. Bagging some points, Haas is P5 on the championship out of nowhere, out of absolutely nowhere. They were awful in the running testing. They had absolute no pace in the testing, and now they're the best of the rest so far. Oliver Berman, he had the best race so far in his career, in my opinion. Yes, last year he had great races. That race in Jeddah with the Ferrari was very good, but he's driving a Haas, and he started P20. He was right there on the points since the first stint, and then he just managed to stay there the whole race. Master class. Esteban Ocon, he also had a great race, but I don't know. Ocon is a little bit more inconsistent. So far he has had a terrible race, a good race, a terrible race, and a great race. Just, he has to step up a little bit. He is the most experienced driver in that team, and he has to show, because we already saw what Berman can do, and now Ocon has to be like, okay, I saw you. This is what I can do too. And I believe that Ocon has what it takes to take more performances like this. He just needs to get in there. Finally, closing the points, we have on P9, Yuki Tsunoda, his second race on Red Bull, undrivable car, and he's already picking some points. He's doing a great job. He's doing an amazing job. He's doing better than Liam Lawson did. And yes, perhaps it's not the best performance. Perhaps he did not have the best race, not the cleanest race either. He had this incident with Carlos that finished Carlos' race, but it's just the car is awful. That does not excuse him from driving straight into the Williams, but you know, it's his second race on the Red Bull. He did not have the pre-season testing on the Red Bull. Yes, he has like 5 seasons worth of experience, but it's a new car. Very, very hard car to drive. So Yuki Tsunoda impressed me. Very nice from the Japanese. And finally, just an honorable mention for Antonelli. Because yes, he finished outside of the points. He finished P11. But I believe that he had a good race. He had some issues. In my opinion, it was somehow Mercedes' fault. I don't understand why they pushed him into the soft tires on the last stint. The last 2 stints he did on the soft tires. Yes, we saw that Russell managed to keep those tires for 20 plus laps, but it's George Russell. He already has experience to do this type of things. Antonelli is his 4th race in his Formula 1 career, and you're hoping for him to do a decent job with soft tires on 20 plus laps. Like, it's not happening. He was struggling with the soft tires. Yes, he lost places before putting into the soft tires, but I don't know. I don't know what they were hoping. Perhaps if they would have gone for a hard tire, however, the hard tire was awful, he could have done even better. Perhaps pick some point or something, but it was not the case. Unfortunately, he had already scored points on the first 3 races, which is not him to take this time. But yeah, he's surprising me so far. My takes from the race. First, we have McLaren dominance and Oscar Piastri's precision. You have to have these two things together. You can have the best car, but if you don't have precision, you're not delivering. Happened with Lando. We've seen it so many times. Even with Hamilton when he was on the top Mercedes. If you make mistakes, you don't win. That what happened with Max on 23, 22. He was not making mistakes and was winning absolutely everything. That's what we saw yesterday from Piastri. That second sector, turn 5, 6, 7, the throttle. The way that he was applying the throttle through those S's, keeping the rear of the car stable. It was just brilliant. Then he had his braking points, especially 8 and 10. The way that he was going on, slamming on the brakes, letting the car cruise through the turns. So much grip. We saw that the aerodynamics of the McLaren, the downforce of the McLaren is just on point. Masterpiece car. And Oscar, he's so happy driving that car. He's so comfortable driving that car that he can make these type of performances. When we have seen before that Oscar struggles a lot with tire wear and race pace. Yesterday, he had absolutely no problems with both things. He had the best tire management that I've seen from Piastri so far, and he had amazing race pace. He was doing lap after lap after lap after lap. It was just joyful to watch his onboards, the way that he was driving. So far, the best drive that I've seen from Oscar Piastri. This is the type of drives that put him on contendant, that makes him a contendant to win in the championship. I don't believe he's gonna win it. I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I hope Lando wins it. But if it's Oscar, I'm gonna be very happy, to be honest. If he keeps putting performances like this, it was just brilliant. He's amazing. How can you not like it? Honestly. George Russell resilience. As I already said it before, that Mercedes was falling apart during the last stint, especially during the last stint. He had issues with his steering wheel. His steering wheel information was collapsing. There was one point that the engineer was even telling him, you're gonna lose all information on the steering wheel. He was even implying that it might came off, like it happened to Alonso in practice too, and he kept Norris behind. I don't know how. He even had this issue with, there was something going on with George Russell's car because of the timing thing that F the entire graphics, but also with the DRS. Now, I don't know why they didn't give a penalty. It was a car malfunctioning. It was a malfunctioning of the car that the DRS came on when he was not supposed to have DRS. Yes, it was a car malfunctioning, but in my opinion, it should have been some sort of penalty. Because even if it was a car malfunctioning, he still got an advantage from using the DRS when he was not supposed to. The same happened to Leclerc, and I believe it was because of Russell's problem with the time thing, because the engineer, Lando's engineer, told Lando to make sure that he was within DRS range before going into the DRS, because George's timing thing was broken and it was just messing with everyone else's times, right? But anyway, he qualified P2. He had this one grid penalty, started P3. He made that position on track on the start of the race. He had all these technical issues. He had amazing defending driving, and he secured P2 again. Like, he is 14 points away from the leadership of the championship, and he haven't even won a race so far. He's just, again, it's like this Alan Prost mind that you just need to put the best results that you can and wait for those ones who are trying to push to the limit to have a mistake, and then you can capitalize on that. You just have to wait there, and then the car ahead makes a mistake, you take it. Red Bull struggles. Oh my god. I don't know what's happening with this team, but that car is just awful to watch. And everyone knows. Max know that that car is awful. Apparently, no, apparently, because there's pictures. There's pictures. Max Verstappen's manager was seen raging with Helmut Marko after the race. He was furious. He was storming out of the Red Bull hospitality. He was not happy at all with the performance that Max had. He started P7, he finished P6. He only made one position, but there was one point that he was P20 in the middle of the race. And I honestly thought that he was not even gonna finish the race. He had a great recovery. He backed some decent points, but I don't know. I've heard that apparently there's a clause on Max's contract that if Red Bull is doing worse than P6 or something like that, he can quit and move to whatever team he can or wants. But if the Red Bull is doing better than P6, he has to stay. Whether this is accurate or not, I don't know. This is just what I've heard. But would you believe it's too crazy to think that if Red Bull keeps having this type of performances, Max is gonna retire by mid-season? I don't believe it. Honestly, like, he either retires at the end of the season or mid-season if Red Bull keeps having these issues. He's gonna take one sabbatical, he's gonna enjoy baby Verstappen, help Kelly, spend time with his family, take a rest from Formula 1, and see on 26 who's fast, who has potential, and then he goes knock on the doors and say, hey, I'm Max Verstappen, 4 times world champion, I wanna drive for you next year. I don't believe anyone from the current grid is safe if Max Verstappen is the one knocking on the door. There's not Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc. Perhaps Charles, I don't know. But if Max wants to get into a team, I'm pretty sure any team will drop whoever they need to drop to secure Max. He's just the best driver in Formula 1 right now. And he's gonna put, every time that he get a car, he's gonna put it where that car is not supposed to be. So yes, anyone's gonna try to get Max. But I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to see Max retiring. I want Red Bull to get into the mix. I hope that they can get some sort of upgrades or something, and they can recover some points. We'll see. Nothing is like, I honestly hope that Red Bull starts doing better. Not just for Max, but also for Yuki. Also because I like Red Bull. They're always the team that's fighting somehow. And yeah, I want a real fight for the championship. A fight for the championship between Oscar and Lando. It's nice. I take that. But if we have other teams in the mix, it's just better, you know? But anyway, my last take from this Bahrain Grand Prix is Ferrari. That Ferrari is not the best Ferrari that we've seen. It's not the best car to be driving right now, but the upgrade that they did with the floor, it worked. Lewis is still struggling a little bit to get used to this car. He's saying already that he already knows where to start looking at things, what to start changing, where are the points that he's missing out on the car, so he can start getting better results. Honestly, I hope this happens. They're bringing a new upgrade for Miami. I'm crossing my fingers for this upgrade to put Ferrari fighting for the wins, because it's fun having many, like, if we can have all 10 teams fighting for wins, it's just fun, you know. It's fun. So last but not least, I'm gonna be giving you guys power rankings. So I'm gonna be doing this every race. So I'm gonna put the P10 power rankings. I'm gonna be giving each driver the same points as if they were win the race, and so I'm gonna have these power rankings, A-list power rankings championship, and we'll see at the end of the season. So I'm gonna start from P10 up to P1. On P10, I have Yuki Tsunoda. He had a good race. He bagged some points. Yes, it's his second race. He's on a Red Bull that's undrivable. He's done already better job than Liam Lawson. And yeah, just for his second race, not being knocked out on Q1 and not finishing 12th or worse, it's already great from Yuki. P10 on my power rankings. Great done, Yuki. On P9, I have Max Verstappen. It was not Max's best race. It was no near Max's top races, but he managed to save his race from P20 on lap 30, I believe it was, until he rescued some points. He did the best that he could from the car. It was a decent performance from Max. On P8, I've gone for On P8, I've gone for Norris. Yes, I'm sorry, Lando. You have a McLaren and you lost this race on Saturday. If you would have qualified P3 or better, would have had a different discussion. But yes, you bottled it on Saturday. Then you had this grid penalty for your mistake. Yes, you recover and you finish on the podium. It was a magnificent drive. Honestly, I'm very happy with with how the race developed for Norris. But I cannot put him higher when we have Haas scoring points from 14 and 20. Anyway, moving on. On P7, I have Esteban Ocon. Yes, he did a great job. He won 6 places. He was the second driver to win the most places after Berman. As in total, they made up 16 places between their two drivers. It was a great race from Ocon. That's it. He was a great race from Ocon. P6, I have Charles Leclerc. It was not the best race from Leclerc. I believe that he started P2 and he finished P4. He could have made it to a podium at least. The fact that he was not in the podium, just, I'm sorry. P5, I've gone for Lewis Hamilton. He had a good race. He started P9. He made it to P5. Driver of the day. He is not struggling as much in the Ferrari anymore. He did great overtakes. That move on Carlos was very nice. I don't know. I was happy with Hamilton's race. I was not happy at all with Hamilton's last 3 races. But yeah, decent drive from Hamilton. On P4, I've gone for Pierre Gasly. Yes, Pierre Gasly. He deserved the P4. He qualified P5 on an Alpine and he managed to stay on the points. He managed to finish P6. It could have been worse. The Alpine is awful. It's not fast and he managed to stay there the whole race. Great job, Gasly. And then on the podium, they had P3 for George Russell. He was a great race from Russell. Managing the car, great defending, very resilient. On P2, we have Oliver Berman from P20 to P10. I'm sorry, Ollie, I cannot put you in P1 because Oscar race was just brilliant. Don't get me wrong, Oliver Berman's race, for me, it was a 10 out of a 10, but Piastri was also a 10 out of a 10, and Piastri won, so he's taking P1 on this power rankings, nothing to do there. And with this, we've reached the end of this podcast. If you like, please hit the like button, subscribe, share, and I'm gonna see you later this week to talk about the preview of the Saudi Grand Prix. Bye! Like with his what happened with his. Indeed, he got a 5 grade, a 5.